Hi, I'm AGNES TALDE, and welcome to another episode of Unfoodable Weekly. We are here at the Javits Center for the Summer Fancy Food Show, and today we're talking to New York City's specialty food masters. And today we have Sarah Ryan from Raffetto's Fresh Pasta, and from Malt and Mold we have the owners Kevin Heald and Caitlin NISH. Thank you guys for being with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So to get started, tell me a little bit about your business. Do you want to go first?
So my family has had Raffetto's Fresh Pasta for 111 years in the same location on West Houston Street, and it's been in my family now for 4 generations, so I'm the next one up, and I'm hoping to bring it to the next level while still maintaining a lot of our tradition.
And what kind of products do you sell?
So it's a mainly fresh pasta company, and then now over the years we do prepared meals, sauces, and a lot of specialty grocery items.
Great. And Malt and Mold, tell me about your business. It sounds like beer and cheese, but I'm sure there's a lot more.
That is exactly what we do. We are a beer and cheese shop first and foremost, and then we have a variety of artisanal sundry items that complement either side, or in some cases both.
Now, what other items do you sell, would you say? Give me some examples.
We sell crackers, fresh bread, ice cream,
Pickles.
Pickles.
Is that a big seller?
Huge. Yeah, it goes naturally with both.
And now when you think Malt and Mold, are people coming in having beer and cheese, or how is the store set up?
We find that actually a lot of customers will come in for one or the other, and it's always interesting to see if we can get them to try the other side and start to think about both malt and mold. But for the most part, people gravitate towards one or the other.
And you guys have been around for about 5 years.
Yes.
How much of a tradition plays in the creation of your products?
I think just the actual setup of the store, the way it looks, is more of an older style. You know, clearly we're not a supermarket. We're very small, 300 square feet, and but just we use this really nice wood, and it's set up so that as soon as you come in, you have to engage with the people behind the counter. You're not just walking in and doing a shopping list. You're coming in and you're trying the cheese, or you're trying the beer, you're finding out what we have new, or you're looking to see if we have some old favorites.
And you have a long tradition, several generations you said. I mean, how does that play when you pick your products? Are you guys always making new ones? How does it work?
We definitely maintain consistency first and foremost, because that's why people have been coming back to us for so many years. But we do try to here and there incorporate some new ideas or some new products, and based on the feedback, we keep it or we move on.
And how is it hard to kind of keep the products that you usually have to please your regulars and add new ones? I mean, how does it usually work?
I wouldn't say it's hard. It's more hard to give something new because it takes a long time to really understand if it's actually doing well, and you get positive feedback, because my dad always says that the first sale is great, but it's just the first. It's the second and the third that will really tell you if it's something that you want to keep around or not.
Because it's kind of hard to sell new products, you guys shy away from that and try to push the traditional stuff first more, or?
More so, yes, but you also have to keep people excited and happy, so gluten-free is a huge challenge. We've finally been able to come up with a gluten-free gnocchi, which has been successful, but we really want to do noodles and ravioli and more things that can accommodate both the preference and the allergy.
Pretty neat. I mean, how do you guys go forth putting new products out, but trying to keep your regulars who found you guys in the first place happy?
I think that is a constant balance for us, because there are certain items that if we did not have Prairie Breeze cheddar from Iowa, our customers would revolt. Like, there would just...
Is that the big favorite?
That is a big fan favorite for us. So we try to have a kind of staple, some core items that we always carry. That's what people come in for on the regular. But then we also want to have some new items to get them excited about, to kind of add to their purchase of those kind of core items. And on the beer side, our whole model with the beer is based on having new and interesting things.
Right. What's going on in the New York City with the breweries right now, it's went from maybe 4 breweries in 2012 when I opened to over 45 breweries just in New York City alone now. And among those, probably almost half are doing a new beer literally every week for release. So I get to go through and pick among a cornucopia of choices to figure out, so it's all new all the time. which there are some customers for whom that's a frustration. They just want that same thing, but I remind them, if I wasn't doing it this way, that beer would never have made it onto my list. You know, we just stick with the same 10 beers we always had.
And how do you go about choosing those 10 beers from such a variety? And are you always going local? Is that the key?
No, we start local and then we kind of spiral out. And there's just some favorites across the country. We do keep our beer list to domestic, so it's all American microbrew beers, whereas our cheese list is a nice combination of foreign and domestic.
And is it hard for letting them know, hey, your beer isn't here anymore, your cheese is not here anymore, or is it very seasonal?
I actually warn them, certainly on the beer side, and I'll let Caitlin speak to the cheese side, but on the beer side, I tell people, like, there's so much going on. We definitely want to bring you in today, but, unlike the bar down the street, we're not going to be able to just give you this line and have it be this for the next 6 months. We just can't do it. So you have to make a choice if you want to be a part of it now and do that model or not.
So you're the beer guy, you're the cheese guy.
Yes, that is our division
And I
of
want to
labor.
go back a little bit. Tell me how you guys met and got together.
Well, I was actually a regular customer when Kevin opened the first malt and mold on the Lower East Side. I lived across the street and I spent a ton of money there, so I figured I might as well just, partner
We did lose our
up
best
and-
customer when we became business partners.
That's a great story. I mean, that shows how important a relationship is with the customers that come in. I mean, why do you think people choose you guys over non-artisanal purveyors?
I think it's the expertise. When people are walking around in a grocery store, a grocery giant mega store might have a wonderful selection of cheese, but there's no one there to really talk them through everything and explain how it's produced, why, what the milk type is, why it's seasonal, why the flavors are the way they are. And so for us, that's what I feel like we offer, is that personal interaction. And it gives people a little bit of more of a sense of kind of community too when they're in our shop and we're all talking together about how a product is made and where it comes from. And I think they're kind of looking to us for guidance and how to navigate all of the artisanal world is huge now. So when they come to our shop and we're able to actually talk to them and discuss why we love an item so much that we decided to carry it in our tiny little selection of items, I think that's why they're coming.
We're also curating. I mean, wandering around a grocery store, there are thousands of items. We're bringing it down. We have 35 different cheeses that we have, 10 different beers on tap, and maybe another 75 to 100 on the wall in bottles. And we're telling them, we've gone out among everything that you can choose right now. This is what we think is the most interesting, the best quality.
Definitely, if you want to impress someone at a dinner party, your place is the place to go, right?
I think so.
One-stop shopping.
Yes, definitely. And you can buy pasta anywhere, right? Go into any store, you get boxes of pasta. Why do people choose Raffetto's? Because, why is it the place to go in terms of other non-artisanal purveyors?
Right, so we offer fresh pasta, and one of the coolest things that you can come in and see is a 101-year-old guillotine machine that cuts noodles to order. So there's a flavor board where you pick anything from egg, spinach to rosemary, lemon red pepper, even chocolate. You pick a width, linguine, fettuccine, etc. And then we chop it up right in front of you. So it takes about 30 seconds or less, and it cooks in 2 to 3 minutes, and it's around $3 to $4 a pound, and that feeds 3 people. So it's really cheap, really exceptionally delicious, and super easy to make, which a lot of people of my generation now are even starting to realize, because people like to cook less. Whether it's my generation or not, people are more lazy, more busy, whatever, so it's an easy place to stop by and either get a quick meal that you can cook at home or something prepared that you don't have to cook at home.
Well, you can be part of the experience when you see it being chopped.
Right,
It's
so
very
you can
specific.
choose to do that immersive experience or grab something that's, $6, $7, 2 big servings, and it's homemade.
Do you make everything in store, or do you use other outside businesses?
The prepared meals and sauces we do on site, but we now have a factory in New Jersey that manufactures the pasta itself. So, not all.
So how did you choose that business to work with to make sure the quality stays on top?
I mean, I was born into it, so that's a hard question.
Has it always
I
just
didn't
been that way?
Particularly choose it. I did, because I have a choice.
Yeah.
But I get along with my family really well. It's an amazing company, and I think it's my job and my role to work as hard as the previous generations have, but also show them what potential there is and seize it.
Oh, definitely. It's a good, make sure it carries on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And how do you guys choose who to work with? Because I know you guys curate to make sure there's
I mean, that is the
consistently
best part
quality.
of our job. We get to meet with all these local producers. They're
tastings
bringing
all
our
day.
samples.
Yeah.
Tastings all day.
I love it. I mean, but are there special people that you go to, or for what, and how do you choose them?
You know, it's a broad combination of different things of where we're seeking out things that interest us. We have customers who are coming and saying, I had this either in a different part of town, but I don't live there. Can you bring this in here so I can buy it on a regular basis? So that's kind of a fun thing. And then of course we're working with suppliers and distributors, and they're constantly sort of doing for us what we're doing for our customers. They're curating from the larger world out there, and then they're coming to us and saying, we feel like this would be a really great part of your store. You know, it's certainly a great part of our portfolio, but for you specifically, we work with great, salespeople basically, but that they see it really as partnering with us.
They know what you guys want in your store, and
Right.
they reach out to you, and it's kind of vice
They
versa.
come and visit, they see what our customers are buying, they see our ordering patterns, and then based on that, they're saying, if you want to differentiate a little bit, you can do this, but if you want something brand popping new, we can also do that.
Compared to everything else on the market, how are you guys priced? Would you say higher, lower, the same?
Well, we're a neighborhood shop, so that's a constant fight. You know, our product selection really should be, we can price it a lot higher, but we keep taking spaces that are in a little bit off the beaten path where we can service a pretty select neighborhood. So that enables us to keep our rent a little bit lower, and we fight to keep the prices more neighborhood than midtown super exclusive specialty.
Do you think it's because you guys know you add value beyond just the product? You know, having you guys, do you
Absolutely.
know everybody's name when they come in the door? Tell
Which
me
is a
about
bad
that.
business model, but yes, indeed, we know 95% of our customers as they're coming through the door because it's a neighborhood shop.
But I think that's also too what the customers, like our customers, we know everyone, and that's the benefit of being a small business in a neighborhood. And on that side, we know what they want. And so when we bring in an item, we will actually taste something and sample it and be like, oh, you know who's gonna love this? And tick off 5 people who then, when we see them, we can say, I have something new and you have to try it, and I think you're gonna really like it.
And I'm sure that's the reason they feel like they can trust you
Absolutely.
and come in again, for sure. How do you deal with new people that are coming in kind of confused, like, oh, this place looks cool, but I don't know what to buy? I mean,
And that happens a lot.
Yeah.
No, we get them right in. We say, first of all, let me tell you what we do, and are you thinking about cheese? Are you thinking about beer? Great, we'll start sampling on the one, but certainly if they're sampling cheese, it's very easy to say, here, try this beer with that. It's magical.
and how is your pasta priced compared to everything else on the market? You say it's cheaper, or
Much cheaper.
how is
because
that possible?
We own the building, first of all.
Very
So,
important in New York City.
Right off the bat, that is the core reason why we're able to maintain such fair pricing. But for years, my family firmly believed that if you keep things at a fair price, not necessarily so low that it's bizarre, that you keep people coming back, you keep very loyal customers, and that's what we've been able to maintain. And we don't try to make such a killing. We just want to make people happy and have a good, well-run business, and that seems to have been doing.
Yeah, be like a New York City institution.
Well, as they are, we're a neighborhood shop. We're not Italy. We're not, some fancy place that's going to have the same bottle of olive oil for twice as much as it could be, because we want to be fair and we want to encourage people to keep coming back.
I have a very specific question for you guys regarding wine pairings. I know they're very, that's what everyone, the status quo when it comes to a meal, but as craft beer industry is growing and growing, people now think about beer pairings with the meal. How do you evaluate that versus a wine pairing, and how do you set that up?
Well, for us, it's all about tasting. And so we have a general idea of what styles work well together. So when we bring in a new cheese, I am the cheese side of it. So I always start with cheese and then pair beer. Kevin does kind of the opposite because he's on the beer side. But we have an idea of what's going to work. And then we just actually pour out samples and we taste them together. And that's something that we enjoy doing with customers as well.
Right.
We don't
Yeah,
do
we're
it
not
behind
doing that
closed
right.
doors.
That's not in off hours. That's specifically during business hours, and we're breaking open a wheel, or if I'm tapping a new keg, And we'll do samples all around. Our staff really enjoys working with us.
I mean, I would love to go shopping and come in and be like, have some beer, have some cheese. But people always think,
especially if you're just coming in for ice cream and we're like, hey, we just tapped this keg, try this beer.
Oh, wonderful. So I mean, you always think wine and cheese, so you want to kind of change that notion to beer and cheese?
Well, yeah, it definitely has become a new thing. It's certainly, even before I opened 5 years ago, that people started to think of pairing beer and cheese. Part of that is that the beer world has gone from just being your average Pilsner, which was this very one style and very mainstream, to the breadth of all the beer styles that have been being brewed around the world. And American microbrewers have adopted, or in some cases co-opted, those styles and made them their own. So now, if you're coming in and saying, well, this IPA is just really bitter, it's not really going to go with anything that we're having, I can introduce a Saison, a farmhouse ale, or even a sour that it doesn't replicate a wine, but it takes the place where wine would be at a meal, and you can see how the flavors would go with the flavor profile of whatever you're serving.
I think if you think about it, it almost makes sense because you have like beer battered pretzels that you eat with cheese.
Right.
So the fact that you never really thought about beer and cheese before is kind of bizarre.
I think the beer pairings are going even beyond cheese, to be honest.
Like full meals?
I've heard people, there's a famous brewer, Oliver Garrett from Brooklyn Brewery, and he said that wine, or I'm paraphrasing, he said that wine fights with cheese while beer complements cheese. And I don't necessarily know that everyone will agree with that,
but
that's
all go on
certainly,
a taste test
yes,
to figure this out.
put that theory to the test.
Sign me up.
All right, great. Do you guys have any takeaways you want to add as we wrap up? You want to tell us the locations of your stores?
Mine would be that, well, we have 2 locations.
Okay.
Our 2nd Avenue location is at 21st Street and 2nd Avenue, and we do free beer tastings every Friday from 5 to 8 p.m.
Write that in your calendar.
And our Lower East Side location is at East Broadway and Clinton, and we do free beer tastings there every Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Wonderful. And tell us where your store is. And
So it's on West Houston and McDougal in the West Village, and we're closed on Sundays and Mondays, which is something people forget a lot. But
that's a chef's schedule, Sundays and Mondays off.
Tuesday through Saturday. It's
open and
a decent schedule for me, but working Saturdays kind of stinks.
It's okay. When everyone's sad about Mondays, at least you can sleep in, right?
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys so much. It was
Thank
a lot
you.
of fun. And I'm Agnes CHUNG TALDE. See you guys next time.